Well, let's talk about 10 benefits how cardboard and newspaper will help your worm bin. So here they go in no particular order. Number 1, cardboard is great for not having your bin too wet. If you have a lot of cardboard in there, it will soak up the moisture from wet fruits such as watermelons and other things that have a lot of moisture. So it will help to keep the bin a lot drier and to maintain it from not being too wet. And also, it will allow it not being too wet to become anaerobic, and that's when it becomes stinky. And cardboard is a great resource because it allows your bin to dry out. Number 2, it is a great carbon resource. It will allow your bin to have better airflow. With cardboard, as you see, the corrugated cardboard is raised, and that allows more air and oxygen to get inside of your worm bin. So that will allow your worms to have a better, healthy environment because of the increased airflow. Number 3, it helps with the carbon to nitrogen ratio. And now when it comes to your carbon nitrogen ratio, don't overthink it. The best thing you can do is always add a lot more paper to your worm bins over the nitrogen, such as food scraps. And if you notice, if you just put strictly nitrogens into a worm bin, it's going to become soggy and it's going to stink because carbon, the browns, help to allow your cardboard not to stink. But if you put a bin of strictly cardboard into the worm bin, your worm bin will not stink because carbon does not give off a foul odor. But the thing you don't want to do about just using strictly cardboard is like if you just eat a slice of pizza crust every day, it's going to get old. You're not going to get all the nutrients you need. So always have a mixture of browns to greens, your carbon nitrogen ratio, and always put more carbon compared to your nitrogens. Number 4, it helps to control the bin heat. And that goes back to, once again, the oxygen being able to get inside of the worm bin. So if there's more oxygen, it prevents your bin from heating up because oxygen allows more airflow in your worm bin. So that's another great thing when it comes to using carbon. Number 5, it helps reduce odor. Carbon always reduces the smell over nitrogen. Like I said, once again, always put more carbon into your worm bin over the nitrogen to help reduce the odors. And then when you have the food scraps in there, always cover the food scraps up with the carbon, and that will prevent the odors from coming out of your worm bins. Number 6, the worms like an environment when it's moist. Moist cardboard and newspaper allows the worms to move freely through the carbon. It allows them to get the moisture that they need inside of their skin. It keeps them healthy, promotes them to able to meet other worms and do their due. So always think about adding carbon and wet newspaper to allow the worms to have more worm activities. Number 7, the worms eat the cardboard and they make worm castings. And you'll definitely notice the difference from cardboard before and after when the worms start to consume the cardboard and newspaper. Number 8, it prevents your food scraps from rotting too quickly because once again, as you can see, there will be a pattern with some of these. When you have just strictly food scraps in there, it gets all soggy and mushy. But when you have the carbon and the nitrogen of the green food scraps, it will allow your food scraps to break down a lot slower. And that way it will prevent your worm bin from having any stinky issues whatsoever. Number 9, another great benefit of cardboard and newspaper is there is an abundance of supplies. You can always get cardboard from certain stores, or you could ask for it you get something from Amazon. If you go to Temu, you can get some Temu boxes and use those as carbon resources, and also you're recycling to help save the environment. And number 10, it provides your worms a safe environment. It allows them the opportunity to hide, to mate, to consume the food scraps, and also it gives them the same environment as an outdoor habitat. So that's another reason why you should be using cardboard. And now, if you ever think about using leaves, the reason I don't use leaves, I'm going to explain it in this video right here.